Hi everyone, welcome to the online class Kilora. I'm Lavanya. So today we are going to learn a new topic that is forecasting, which is one of the advanced feature in Tally. So what do you mean by this forecasting? Forecasting is the process of making prediction or estimating about a future events, trends or outcomes based on historical data, analysis or any other factor. In a simple term, a process of estimating an outcome based on relevant information. It can be historical data, anything. That is known as forecasting. So, in the content of the business and finance, here the forecasting is used to predict the future financial performance, sales, revenue, expenses, and other key metrics. So, this forecasting involves quantitative and qualitative method to project the future scenario and anticipate the potential changes or development. So what are the things which involves in forecasting using various techniques? Here are the few things which involves using various techniques are the seven. So the first one is time series analysis, regression analysis, exponential smoothing, moving average, causal analysis, judgmental forecasting, machine learning algorithm. These are the things which forecasting involves using various techniques. So the first one is time series analysis. Here, this time series analysis nothing but it identifies the pattern and trends in the historical data to predict the future outcome. For example, you a company will analyze the monthly sales data for a past 3 years to forecast the future sales, right? This can be one of the time series analysis. And the next one is regression analysis. This regression analysis is nothing but regression. You know that it's establish a relationship between two variables. So here the regression analysis is nothing but analyzing by establishing the relationship between dependent and independent variable to predict the future outcome. For example, using the historical data or past data, you can predict the future sales based on advertisement expenses and seasonally, both, right? So, this is how this regression analysis is calculated. And the next one is exponential smoothing. Here, the forecasting future outcome by giving more weight to recent data. So let's take an example. By using the weighted average for the past sales data to forecast the future sales with a more weight given to recent data, right? The next one is moving average. How do you calculate this moving average? Like you have to calculate the 3 months moving average of the sales data to forecast the future sales. Based on this 3 months is enough. So with the help of this 3 months moving average, you can calculate the sales data for the future forecasting sales. So here moving average is nothing but smooth out fluctuation in historical data to predict the future outcome. The next one is causal analysis. This causal analysis is nothing but you have to identify the cause and effect relationship. So, between the variable to predict the future outcome. Causal is nothing but identifying the cause and effect relationship between the variables. So, you can predict the future in it. The, for example, you have to analyze the impact of the price changes vice versa. So, on a sales to predict the future sales. By analyzing the price changes impact on a sales, you can predict the future sales, right? And the next one is judgmental forecasting. This judgmental forecasting is you can use this expert judgment and experience to predict the future outcome. For example, let's take a sales manager uses the experience and knowledge of a market to predict the future sales. It's possible. The next one is machine learning algorithm. You're using a complex algorithm to identify the pattern and relationship in a large distance or a large data set to predict the future outcome. For example, let's take by using this MI, that is machine learning algorithm, to analyze the customer behavior and predict the future sales. This is an example for the machine learning algorithm. So by using all these techniques has its own strength and weakness, and the choice of technique will be depending on your specific forecasting problem and data variability. Based on that, you can use various types of technique based on which depends on a specific forecasting problem. So how to use and how to manage this forecasting in Tally? As I told, this forecasting in Tally, which refers to the process of predicting the future outcome based on historical data or any other relevant data. So, this helps the business make informed decisions about resources allocation, budgeting, and strategic planning. Let's understand this forecasting with an example. For example, let's say XYZ, a company, wants to forecast its sales or revenue for the next quarter. That is from, you can take it from February, no, you can take it from April to June. So they have been used this tally for accounting and have historical sales data for the past few years. So how do you create this forecasting? So the first step you're gonna do is go to the gateway of tally, forecasting, and then sales. So first you have to go to the gateway of tally, and then you have to click on it, and then you'll get lot of options. In that you have to select the forecasting and then sales. So the next step will be you have to select the historical data period, like if you want last 2 years, last 5 years, last 3 years, whatever, it is up to you. You have to select the data period and then choose a forecasting method. So which method do you want? Moving, average, anything. So you have to choose which method you are going to forecast, and then you have to set the forecast period, that is a next quarter, right? So from April to June, then you have to run the forecast. Then this tally will analyze the historical data and generate a forecasted sales revenue which is figured for the next quarter. So with the calculation we are going to understand this. So the output will be months. It's from April, May, June, 3 months. April to June, right? So April, May, June will be in one column, and next to that you'll have a one more column which is amount. Like April you'll have 12 lakhs, May 13 lakhs, June 14 lakhs. Based on this forecasting, XYZ company can plan a production and inventory according to it. Right. Then it will allocate the resources effectively and make informed decision about pricing, marketing and investing. So by using this tally forecasting feature, business can make a data-driven decisions and also can identify the potential trends and patterns. So it helps you to optimize the financial performance also. So this is how you are going to manage the forecasting in Tally. Let's understand the objectives of forecasting. So here are the few objectives which is common. The first one is anticipate future trends. improve financial planning, enhance decision making, optimizing resources allocated, and identify the potential risk, capitalize on opportunity, and streamline the operations, and finally improve the customer service. So let's understand one by one. The first one is anticipate the future trends. Here you are going to identify the pattern and trends in historical data to predict the future outcome. Right. Like here the forecasting helps in identifying the pattern and the trends which enables the business to prepare a future changes. For example, let's take a retail company forecast an increase in demand of eco-friendly products, so they can stock up on relevant inventories to meet the further customer needs, right? So this is how the forecasting helps in anticipating the future trends. The next one is improve financial planning. So, by making informed decision about resources allocated, budgeting and investment, you can improve the financial planning too. The next one is enhanced decision making. So, by using this data driven insights to minimize the risk and maximize the opportunity. So, this can also be one of the objective for forecasting in Tally. And the next objective is optimize resources allocated. As I told, plan production, inventory, and staffing level to meet the customer demand. And the next one is identify the potential risk. So, forecasting the potential challenges and develop the contingency plan can also helps in forecasting the tally. And the next one is capitalize on opportunity. So this is one of the objective where you can identify the emerging trends and make strategic investment. And streamline operations is like you have to use the forecasting to optimize the supply chain management. So here the inventory control and logistic can be one of the objective for forecasting. And the last one is improve customer services. By forecasting the demand, which helps you to ensure the timely delivery and meet a customer expectations. So these are the common objectives for forecasting. Here are the few main primary objectives of forecasting are anticipating future trends, making informed decision, planning and prepare, optimizing the resources allocated, and evaluating the performance. So let's understand one by one. Let's understand the main primary objects of forecasting are. So the first one is anticipating future trend. Here forecasting helps individually business and organization to anticipate the future trends, changes, develops in various domains such as economics, finance, sales, production, demographics, and technology. Your forecasting helps in identifying the pattern and the trends, which enables the business to prepare for a future changes. For example, let's take a retail company forecast an increase in demand for eco-friendly products, so the cost up on a relevant inventory to meet a customer future needs. So the next one objective will be make informed decision. By providing insight into the future possibility and outcomes, forecasting supports informed decision making. It helps in forecasting in identifying the opportunity, mitigates the risk and allocate the resources effectively to achieve a desired objectives. Here, This making informed decision in forecasting provides a data-driven insight which enables the business to make an informed decision. For example, let's take a manufacturing company forecast an increase in sale so that they can decide to reduce the production and cost cut off minimizing losses. So this can also be one of the primary objective of forecasting. And the next one is plan and prepare. Here, forecasting which helps the business plan and prepare for the future events or exchange. Here, the forecasting which enables the individuals and organization to plan and prepare for the future events and contagious. So this helps them to develop the strategies and set goal which allocate the resources and establish a prioritized based on anticipated future condition. For example, let's take an e-commerce company forecast a surge in sales during the holiday season, so they can prepare an increasing inventory and hiring temporary staffs. This is how they prepare and plan in forecasting. The next objective is optimizing the resources allocated. So, forecasting assists in optimizing the resources allocated by aligning the supply with the demand. So, managing the inventory levels, scheduling the production, staffing, and distribution activities, and balancing the budget and investment is one of the primary objectives. Here, the forecasting helps the business to allocate the resources efficiently. So let's take an example. A logistic company forecast an increase in shipments, so they can allocate the additional resources, like it can be a vehicle, personals, anything. So to meet a demand, this is how they allocate the resources in forecasting. The next objective is evaluate performance. So, forecasting allows individual and organization to evaluate the accuracy of their prediction and the effectiveness of the strategy over time. By comparing the forecasted objectives with actual result, they can access the reliables of their forecasting method and make adjustment as needed. So, forecasting helps the business to evaluate the performance and make adjustment. For example, a financial institution forecasts revenue growth but actual result falls short. So they analyze their miscommunication to identify the area of improvement or any um, errors to identify the area of improvement. So, by achieving all this objective, forecasting enables the business to stay ahead of a curve which makes informed decision and drive growth and profitability. So, these are the main objectives of forecasting.